Joshua Jack here says, "What's your guys' patience with Sancho? What are you saying, Jinxie, about
Man,
with Sancho?"
oh,
So go on, yeah, go on, Jinxie.
Yeah,
Sorry.
there isn't that much patience with Sancho. I think he gets a tough ride. There was that offside opportunity where he should have squared it, and he didn't. And just little things like that. It's just starting to. You can just tell his confidence is shot. But look, for me, he's on thin ice. It's as simple as that. You know, he's not. When we talk about Pellistri earlier, just giving us glimpses and actually showing us Sancho's not even doing that anymore, and that's a real worry. That is a real worry. Whether he goes this summer because he's not Ten Hag's man, or maybe the season after, but it looks like the writing's on the wall for me. I think fans just kind of see it as that he's perhaps just not the guy, and that's the sad part of all this. It's the reality he's kind of set in for us.
yeah. Exactly what you just said. I'll say this. Thank you, Joshua Jack. This was one of the things that I was concerned about from watching the game. I think Sancho, and I'll preface this by saying I absolutely love this guy. He's one of my favorite players just because of what he was doing at Dortmund, how he looks when he's confident and he's on the ball and he's moving. I love the guy. But Sancho is getting closer and closer to Donny van de Beek by the week. When he's he's ghosting through games, he's making square passes where he should be, I don't know, maybe taking a man on, taking a shot, or whatever the case is. He's turning around and looking back instead of looking forward. He looks like his confidence is absolutely shot. And I think next year will be the final year of the United experiment if he doesn't do bits next season. I think he'll be out of here after next year.
I think given the hype, so go on.
I will say, are you defending him or are you gonna say more? Because I'm here for a defense case.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm about to go in. So
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So personally, I never wanted Sancho to begin with. Like, he came in with a big hype. He had great numbers in Dortmund, but I think one of the biggest mistakes that Manchester United made transfer-wise in recent years is not choosing to pay the money for Grealish when Villa stayed up, and then deciding to chase Jadon Sancho for 2 years. Because when we were in for both of them, just looking at the two options, and taking my, I'm talking Villa Grealish, not City Grealish.
Yeah.
You see that more of that dynamic character that he brings more to the game. He's trying to make something happen out of nothing. Sancho is more of a system player. And so he thrives better in a system where he can play that tippy-tappy football and not, he's not scrappy. He's not going to create something out of nothing. He's not going to be that guy to bring you what you need. And that's what we needed when we were trying to bring Sancho in before. We needed that, to supplement, Bruno's behavior, Bruno's, what he brings, so he doesn't get canceled out of games. But I think you see now, especially with the characters that Ten Hag has brought in, Martinez, Antony, Casemiro, he likes those fighters, and we need those fighters. Even Pellistri today, those people who want to win with nothing, like that they're there to win and nothing else. Sancho's there to play five-a-side and have a kickabout, with the boys, and that's nothing wrong with that. But like, that's just the character. He's a nice guy. He's not there to kill off a game. He's not there to fight for something. Imagine Sancho in a fight. It's not happening.
Bro, he pull out 50-50s. How are you gonna get into a fight?
Exactly.
I'm not going to disagree with the points that have been brought up, because that's my issue as well. DZ's right. There's not that killer instinct. Dolph is right that he seems like he's there for a good time, not a long time. The reason why I say I've got a defense case in terms of he came at Man United at probably the worst time possible that you could have
for signing, literally.
For signing, literally. Mm-hmm. Off the bat, terrible season to join. Structure was all over the place. Ollie was the manager. Then it's Ragnick. Ragnick's calling out the entire team and the club. The players aren't feeling like literally the worst time that he could go through.
Yeah.
Then we bring in new CEO, new sporting director, new director of football, new coach. So it's all turned
and
over again. Yeah, and a new right winger. And it's all flipped over. It's all flipped over again. And so in terms of a signing, has this last little period been the best place for him to settle down? Probably not. Now he can do more. I'm not saying that he's not his fault, because then we're talking about Paul Pogba territory, and I'm not one of those fans. he can do more. Like I said today, he could have taken a shot, take more responsibility, be more up for it. But the circumstances around Sancho this season and the season before, I can understand why he maybe hasn't fell into what we've into so far. And I think DZ is right. Next season, if you still not kicking hitting the ground running with a new ownership that's gonna inject new cash, new energy into the club, with a year under a manager that all the players love, a manager that let you go to the mountains and come back and still did not call you out, if you still not hitting the ground running, that is when I'm like, for me, that is when it's like, yeah, it's done. But for now, I can understand why it's still a bit not seeing it yet. I'm just willing to have time. I don't know about you, Kojo, but I'm willing to.
It's frustration, isn't it? You came with a big price tag, so there's a certain expectation. But I mean, I don't know about the guys here, but United fans probably thought he was going to become a sort of like a direct winger for us, take on players all the time. And at Dortmund, he was a bit more get into spaces, quick 1-2s, link with players and all that. And if I'm being honest, it's not to take blame away from him, but the players that we have don't fit that blueprint. So I feel like Ten Hag is trying to even change his role a little bit. When he comes off the bench in more Premier League games, you see Bruno switch to the wide side rather than stay in the middle. So maybe he's trying to make him like a low number 10 where he can link up play. We get a better striker in because Lord knows the tall guy's not doing it, and the other guy's just going to play football for the rest of the season. So maybe it's a thing where we bring in someone else, he links up play a bit better, and he improves. But I am with you, and my patience is there. But next season will be his third season, and that's where you hope that if Ten Hag is backed in the window, how we hope he's going to be backed, and it brings in players, and you can see something's building. You got to be part of that. You got to be part of that process, because if you don't stand out, there's going to be other players to take your place. And dare I say, someone like even Ahmad, who is doing a matting at Sunderland, he's ready to come back from the loan and show himself off. So if we don't show up, then you're going to get sold. So here's what it is.
Yeah, I gotta get going, by the way. So I just want to say one thing is that I think Sancho's future is as a number 10 because he's not quick enough. He doesn't have that pace to be a winger, especially not in the Premier League. But that leads me to my main point. I don't know if he's made for this league. Some players are they're better for Germany. If you watch his highlights from Dortmund, he developed with that like 2-3 yards of space in front of him that you don't get in the Premier League. You don't get that time and space on the ball, and that's really I think where he suffers in terms of like playing to his best or playing to what he knows. And either he adjusts next year, like you're saying, or he doesn't, or he changes position. And maybe we're all wrong, and hopefully we are, but I don't know. But yeah.
No worries. Thank you very much for coming on. We'll chat again soon. Thank you, Dorothy. Take care. I would love Sancho to work out. Absolutely. I've seen a lot of United fans, Baller FC, a lot of them are part of, recently talk about, is Bruno actually trusted because he gets moved out wide? And I'm like, it's honestly the laziest analysis ever. Bruno's trusted so much, he's moved into Sancho's position ahead of him because the manager trusts him more. Because football isn't just about technical ability, skill, and flair. If you don't have, as you've said, Dizzy, the will to fight in games. Palestri got a yellow card today, which he shouldn't have done. But I know why he got it. The referee got it wrong, but it's because the ball slightly overplayed and he went in. He lunged in, he wins the ball actually and pulls his legs away. I know it was the wrong decision, but I understood what the referee thought he saw, a player diving in and catching someone. Sancho lets that go.
Yeah, it pulls out a lot.
I'm not saying players should risk their lives to a degree, but Sunday League players put their foot in. I expect players on millions of pounds a month to risk injury to win balls, because that's what for me, that's what contact sports and professional athletes actually do every time they run. Every time a sprinter runs 100 meters, he risks his hamstrings snapping in half with the speed that he's running at. Every time a boxer or an MMA fighter goes into the ring, they risk long-term serious damage. I expect footballers not to go in two-footed, but when there's a 50-50 ball, I expect you to go in for it. If you don't, I've got a problem with you. I've got a real problem, and he doesn't want to do those things. I have a feeling this summer, Sancho could be sold. I have a feeling because I still think with the new owners coming in and the players you want to buy, the fact that you still need managers don't want massive squads. They don't want bloated squads. They don't want really more than 23 players, 24 players. He could be an individual where Ten Hag says, look, I've got depends on who we buy. But if we buy a number 9 and we buy a backup striker, you've then got Rashford, Rashford and Antony are guaranteed for at least the next couple of years, no matter what's going on. You've got these youngsters that are coming through, Garnacho that's there. How many positions are there for him? Really and truly, in terms of an opportunity, it could be and you look at the 250 grand a week he's on. The manager might think, listen, I'd much rather put that money towards Frankie De Jong in the middle. I'd much rather put that towards a better quality right back. I'd much rather put that Arsenal should score here. They're through on goal. Oh, miss it.
Yeah.
Goal 1-0. Jacko got
it's the tie over. The one thing I would say, his one saving grace is that because there's actually probably a list of players that need to go before him, he's probably going to be hiding under the bodies. You know what I mean? He got the bodies on top of him. And he's just like, okay, if I stay here long enough, no one's going to notice that I'm here. So yeah, the Maguires, the Marshalls, the McTominay, because of that many players above him that need to be sold, and you don't necessarily want to be buying another winger with experience. You don't necessarily want to be trusting Pellistri, Garnacho, and Ahmad as your backup wingers. He might get that chance to stay because he's got that experience, but he is on. Next season is crucial for him, and hopefully he does it. Hopefully he does it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting one. Sunshine, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, man. How's the panel? How's everyone getting on, man?
Yeah, we're good.
Good.
All good. Obviously, we're pretty much at the end of the show now as you arrive. We're just talking about Sancho and his progression and everything else. How do you see it going for him?
I'm quite... I've looked at this on an individual basis. And the reason I've done that is because I've seen how the managers move with certain players and situations. So the Ronaldo, the Maguire, the Bruno, the Bissaka, the Shaws, they've all been dealt with on an individual basis in terms of their individual needs for them to reach their top form. Given the reports, if you were to believe in them or not, which I do personally believe, that Sancho was away for his mental health, etc. Whether it was an injury or mental health, the way that Ten Hag's handled Sancho, I think he's quite smart. He's quite particular. He's very detailed. I think he understands the situation that Sancho came into, and he's had time to understand the personality and character of the man, not the player, the talent, the man. That being said, I then now believe that he supported him going away. He's fended off all the media because he wants the player to come through. He must have seen enough of him to say, I believe in you, I want you to do the best. Not just being a nice person saying, I want you to go and sort your mental health out, come back and we'll throw you straight back in. He's seemingly got a plan. Now, looking at it now, the reason I feel he's on the bench, not just because of his talent or because he doesn't have got a position, although I do believe Ten Hag's now in the current process of finding his best position to use him, I also believe he's conscious of the simple fact that some Man United fans and rival fans and media will still be looking at him as he should be starting based on his talent in Dortmund. I think he's taken him out the firing line this season and given cameo performances off the bench. I think those have been his best performances since he's come back off the bench with his goals and assists, because he can grow into the game where the game's either won or he's going into a confident game. When he's starting games, he's looking a little bit leggy, but you're still seeing certain moments from him. So I think it's a patience game with Sancho as opposed to he's not pulling up trees right now, because I don't think the expectation from the manager is based on his talent and his ceiling. I think it's based on the simple fact that I know you've just come away from your mental health program. I know you're now being integrated into the team. I can't put you in front of the fans for a first 11 straight away, although they want to see you, right? I think we've got to treat you as an individual. And that's just me. I could be completely wrong, but on the outside looking in, looking between the lines, I think that's what's going on, or there's a strong hint of that. And if that is the case, then for as long as Ten Hag wants to support him in that manner, I'm not going to put no pressure on to say I want to see the best out of him, or that there should be a timeline on him. And then given the factors of all that you've said, I think that also adds to it in the simple fact there are players that are next to go before him. So I think he's got time, but I think the way Ten Hag is looking at this, he's in a situation now where he's looking after the player. He's looking after the player, but he's also trying to find a situation where Sancho can be a valid player in this team. And him playing the number 10 role has seemingly sparked up a few decent thumbs up, shall we say, this season. And I think he's got to find over pre-season who Sancho is. And then I think next season, that's when he's going to come down and go, you know what? I'll give you time. I've let you put your, I've put time and faith into you. Now I want you to perform. Now I'm going to put the pressure on you. And when the manager does that, and I feel like he's getting on to Sancho and he's putting him under pressured situations, that's when I'm going to say, okay, as a fan, I can now start putting pressure on Sancho. But that's just me.
I hear you on that. Really, really good takes. I think there's loads of ways this could go with him. We definitely know that there's a talent there, but we will see.